What's up, everybody? I'm Steve from Fly Solo, and today I'm going to teach you how to beef up your SEO game on your personal trainer website. Now, a lot of people ask me, should I be spending money on SEO? Should I be hiring an expert? Should I be getting somebody who knows what they're doing to do this better? And the answer I most often give is no. And now, disclaimer, if we're talking about a bigger, larger brand that needs a ton of reach and a ton of exposure, then the answer is probably yes, right? But if we're talking about a local, small, personal training business, only you know your business like you do, and you're going to get the best results out of it. You just kind of need to know what to do, right? And so that's what I'm going to walk you through today. This is going to be actual tactical advice on how to improve your website's SEO, and we're going to use a real, live, personal training website to show you these examples. Cool? All right, so let's dive in. Okay, so first, this is a personal trainer SEO crash course document here. And you actually have this. I have linked this to you, so you can share this if you want to make edits or anything to it. Just go to File, make a copy, because you have view-only access. But all right, let's dive into it, right? So first, let's start off with what you need, no matter what. If there's one piece of advice you should have for SEO, it's getting a Google business profile, all right? So what is that? Used to be called Google My Business, Google Maps, along those things, but really you want a Google business profile, okay? So a couple tips on this, right? Always use your real business name. Choose personal trainer as your primary category, unless you have something like a fitness center, health consultant, whatever's most relevant, right? But then you're going to need to verify this by postcard, email, or phone. Google tries to make this legit, so you do need to verify this in order to make any sort of edits or changes to it. So next is we're going to complete every section. Take the time to do it. It is really not that difficult. So when I say every section, right, we're talking about putting your address in here, your actual website, your business hours, your phone number, any other attributes about your business, right? If we go over to the about here, right, accessibility, service options, amenities, things along those lines, right? Anything about your business, any question it asks you, just go fill it out. It is completely worth the time, and it does not take that much time. It is not that difficult. Okay, next you're going to upload your logo, a cover photo, gym or training images, client sessions, and videos, right? It doesn't even matter, right? Anything that shows real live content that you are a business, you operate, and you are good at what you do, okay? I do always recommend, if you have the budget for it or resources, a lot of you are very scrappy and have friends, right? Get some professional photos done. It is going to look great, and it is worth the investment at the end of the day. So it's a one-time cost as well. So get some professional photos and a professional logo uploaded on there. And then finally, make sure you're collecting and managing reviews at all times, right? So send your review links to your happy clients. You can just generate them in the actual profile of it. You can click a link to send to people. If you're trying to promote specific services, like this client, right, they do VO2 Max. That's like something, if they wanted to push that as a service, maybe mention that in a review. And then always respond to every review. This is sage advice to respond to your reviews, but it doesn't always have to happen that way. You don't always have to go respond to your 5-star reviews, honestly. But as a rule of thumb, you must always, always, always respond to your negative reviews, okay? So if somebody comes in and even if they're saying a bunch of BS that's not true, respond with a professional and a fixer attitude, regardless of how absurd the review is, right? Because you're really not even fixing the problem for that person that is venting online about you or your business. What you're doing is you're showing other people that are investigating your business that you are professional, that you are calm, composed, and somebody who's gonna who they're going to want to work with, right? So always, always respond to negative reviews. And then finally, there is a section in Google My Business, Google Business Profile, it's now called, where you can add a booking link. So if you have a scheduling link, whether it's via your website, Calendly, Acuity, there's an appointment section that you can add that to. I always recommend that too. Just, this is another thing to make people, one, know that you're a legit operating business, but two, just make it so much easier on them, right? Anything to reduce friction for your customers. So this Google business profile is table stakes, okay? You have to have this if you're going to want to rank and do anything with local SEO, right? Cool. Moving on. So now we're going to get into actually linking all this with your website. So what do you need to do on your website to make this happen? So I'm hoping most of you have a website by now. This advice applies to whatever platform you're using, whether it's WordPress or Wix or Squarespace or GeoCities. Shout out to the people who remember GeoCities. But anyway, so let's just go through and look at this, right? So first we're going to start with the homepage title and meta description. So let's go look at this on the actual client here. So perfect. So if we hover over here, we'll see this is their title, right? E2O Health and Performance, Denver Personal Training and Fitness Lab. So that's a pretty good one, right? So they put their business name in here, some sort of description about what they do, and they did reference the city and state they operate in, Denver, Colorado, okay? So now the meta description, right? So I actually don't know if they have a meta description. Let's go check this out. And if they do or don't, we are going to fix it. So meta property. Cool. So what I did here, if anybody missed that, is I right-clicked and just clicked a view source, right? View source, and that brought that up here. Cool. So now I know the meta property is meta property OG description here, and discover the best version of you. That is not a great meta description, okay? So a meta description is what you see when you open Google here, and we're just going to search actual Google, sorry, not Google Maps. We're just going to say, make up something, personal trainer, Denver, sure. Cool. So if we go down here and we see this, right, like this is your meta description here, right? We can see all these giant brands right in here, like Fit Personal Training, right? And this is your opportunity to actually put something in here to influence click rate. Okay, so this doesn't necessarily influence SEO as a whole, but it does influence your click rate. So let's go to the website and fix this up for this client, because I don't love that right there. I don't think that's a great thing to be said. So cool. We got to log in here. Perfect. And then how is this done on this website? Cool. Okay, so now in this page, right, this is how we have it set up on this website. This is just through a plugin called Slim SEO. You can also use something like Yoast on WordPress if you've heard of that, or whatever platform you're on has SEO features, right? Choose what you want. I like Slim SEO on WordPress because it doesn't have all the extra bloat that's unnecessary typically for a lot of more professional SEO people with a lot of features. This one just really nuts and bolts and gets you all that you really need. Oh, I see. So the meta description here, the reason it's not good is because it's set auto, right? I don't like that. I don't like having an auto description. This is the preview right here. As you can see, that's a terrible meta description. So we are going to actually fix that here. Okay, so now we have a better meta description. I'm just going to go drop that in here, and we're going to click Save here. Perfect. Let's go back to the site. I'm going to clear the cache, and we're going to watch this update. Please, purge all cache. Perfect. And now let's just refresh this, and look at that right there. We can see, right, that this meta description has been updated. Cool. So that is now a much better meta description for this, for E2O, right? Okay, perfect. So now moving on. Oh, one thing here, the character limit, right? Just going back to this. So the title tag, like, you do want to stick to that with this 50 to 60 characters and meta description. They start getting cut off, and when things get cut off, you don't get to choose where they get cut off. So keep your things small and concise, so you are choosing exactly what to display about your business. Okay, now let's move on to heading hierarchy. Okay, so kind of like this document. If you look at this document, how it's well structured, right? I have like my up here. I have this H1 heading 1. I have a heading 2, and then it goes into paragraph text right down here as well. So this is the same for your website. So one of the most important things here is you only want one H1 per page, which reflects the main topic, right? So on your homepage, this is a decent formula, right? Personal training and fitness coaching in city and state. Don't make this exactly. Do not copy this document exactly how I've set up. Put your own words and own twist on it, right? If everybody's doing the exact same thing, it's just not going to work. So do something that's different. Make yourself stand out, but include your main keywords or topics like personal training, like fitness coaching, and your city and state. Do something with that. So let's go actually look at the website now and see if that is the case with this site. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go back to this page source again. I'm going to search for any H1 tags, and we can see 1, 2. Oh, we actually have 2 on this site. Oh, okay. So let's go back here. So I'm going to go inspect this here. This is another way to do this, right? Inspect instead of the view page source. And now, oh yeah, discover the best version of you. Okay, so we don't want this to actually be an H1. Discover the best version of you is a marketing headline, right? So it's not something that is going to be good for the Google gods to look at and read. So we need to actually, we're not going to change the way this looks at all, but we're going to make that an H2 tag probably, maybe even an H3. And so this is the other one here, E2L Health and Performance. That's the other H1. So you know what? Having the business name in there is totally fine, but we really do need to include some other keyword about this business, right? Like personal training in Denver, something like that. So I'm actually going to go edit those right now live. Okay, perfect. Now we're back. Let's see here. So now we're going to go inspect and verify that this, yep, this is now an H2 tag, and let's go inspect this, and let's see what the H1 is. The H1 is E2L Health and Performance, Science-Based Personal Training in Denver. That is all in the H1 tag, so that looks good now. So that is one H1 tag on the homepage, right? So moving back now, okay, so and now to our H2 for key sections. Our services, why choose us, service areas, etc., right? So going down here, like one-on-one, these should all be H2s probably. This is probably an H3. There's only one U. What sets us apart, right? So do a hierarchy of the content. Just kind of structure it like you would a document. H1 is the most important. It's only one per page, reflecting the main topic. And then your H2s are going to be the next important. This is kind of where you put your subheadings all throughout the page. Probably like 3 or 4 per page is going to be great for that. Cool. All right, now moving on. What's next? URLs and site structure. Okay, so use short, readable URLs. So a good is like a contact, but avoid keyword stuffing in there, right? So don't use contact Denver personal trainer. Let's just go to this website and make sure it's all done correctly here. Okay, actually, we want to log out here so we can see this better. Okay, so let's see. The get started just goes to contact. That is perfect. Their scheduling page just goes to scheduling, as you can see up here. Same with packages, all that, right? So that all looks good here. Now here's one caveat, right? So if you're going to start making your page a little bit bigger, right, a little bit more robust, that's where you can start sprinkling in these keywords like in URL, but be very cautious of this. You don't want to look like you're spamming anything here. So if you created a subpage with all your programs on it, right, and then each one of those programs clicked through, maybe you could do something like programs, personal training, city. So let me show you an example on here. Like this is our services page, right? So one-on-one strength training. If this is just all we have for this here, but if we were going to click through to this link and there was a separate page up here, I would maybe make the the URL look something like this, like personal training Denver, something along those lines. I don't know if I would do it for this website, right, because it has Denver already in the main URL, but if you don't have that, right, this is a good opportunity to put some local keywords in there, or if you were doing like something, small group training, I don't know, Denver, right, something like that would be good for this URL. So that's if you get to where you're building your page out to be big, right? Okay, internal linking in your website is a good way to connect topics and ideas to each other. So you're kind of creating a big web of knowledge and information. Okay, so let's show an example of how we would do this here. So let's go to, so something like this, right? So here on the homepage, like, right, this isn't being done, but our mission to elevate the world with science and research-based knowledge, empowering individuals to make informed decisions. This would be a great opportunity to link to something on the blog, right? So let's open something on the blog here. I know that there is, here, you can learn from your metabolic resting rate. So this is a good thing we could probably link to that is science-based here. So I'm going to take this link here. I'm actually going to go put this on the website right now. Cool, so we got to log back in again if we want to do this. Okay, perfect. So now we should have a link into this main website here, and we do right there, right? So what this does, right, is that's linking these topics together. Our mission is to elevate the world with science and research-based knowledge, right? So what we're doing is we're showing we do have resources on our website about science and research-based knowledge. So we earned a bunch of BS, right? And this creates this internal web of internal linking. So I would encourage you to do this as much as possible. So now down here, right, you can schedule an RMR test there, but if you were, let's see, okay, so this is a good idea. If you were effectively using your body fats versus carbohydrates, if you had a good article on nutrition, this right here would be a good thing to link to, right? So this is internal linking. This is not done that well yet on this website, so probably have to go take a look at this and see how we can improve that. But internal linking is going to be something that's very powerful in SEO, and it really shows authority and expertise on topics. So I would strongly encourage you to do that on your website when possible. Cool. So now image optimization and alt text. So first, let's start with image optimization. I don't have this listed here at the moment, but I will add that in the final doc. So let's make sure our images are small. They shouldn't be over like these 500 kilobyte images or even higher, especially if you're taking them from iPhone and don't optimize. Always compress. Most website builders do have an option to compress your images. Okay, so what do I mean by that exactly? Let's go look at let's go to the actual site here. Let's look at this image here. What is this image? So the size is 156 kilobytes. That's not the best. It could probably compress to more to like below 100K, but it's great. It's not huge, right? It's not slowing down the site. Images are the number one thing that is going to slow down your site. And as far as SEO and Google, they hate slow loading websites, right? So you want your website to be loading nice and quickly. Images are typically the number one offender. Videos are also as well, right? We've taken a lot of steps to optimize this video in the background here so it doesn't slow down the website. But videos, big, large videos loading are going to be also detrimental to your page speed scores. So, okay, just keep those image sizes small. Now let's talk about alt text, right? We're going to go here, and alt text describes an image and includes a keyword where natural. So this is kind of like free SEO that I love to tell people that you can kind of do a little bit of keyword stuffing here. Now don't go over the top, right? But feel free to do something like this. So business name, trainer guiding client through a strength exercise. Let's go see if these images have alt tags on their site. Like, I don't know, let's see this one. I don't believe they do. I am not seeing an alt tag right there. I am not. So let's go actually edit this alt tag. It's right here. I'm going to open my editor, alt. So we're going to do a custom one. We're going to say personal training, proper squat form Denver client. Perfect. Here. So now we're going to go save that, and we're going to refresh this. And let's look here. Okay, look, now I have an alt tag right here. Personal training, proper squat form, Denver client. So these are good for two reasons, right? One, it is kind of like free SEO. It really, if you have all the images saying the same thing as all your content, it's really going to be like, okay, wow, this website is about personal training. Second, these are actually for screen readers, right? The core of what these are for. So they are for accessibility, and Google places a lot of emphasis on accessibility to create equity and equality for everyone. So that is going to help boost your SEO, and you can write in kind of natural language here again. Like you can write an actual sentence out here, but if you put these all throughout your website and you label everything with different alt tags, right, nobody's going to actually like search and find these images necessarily. But once again, you're creating all of this evidence for Google that this website is to be taken seriously, and it is about personal training, and it is about strength training and whatever else you're trying to figure out. So, and it is located in Denver, right? So always encourage you alt tags. Those are like free SEO as the way I see it. Okay, now we're getting a little more advanced here, but mobile and speed, right? So always ensure you have a responsive design. And so let's go to this website, right? So there's a couple ways to check this. If you just go to a website here, and once again, I'm in the inspect here. You can press F12 if you're in Google Chrome here. Click over on this little toggle device toolbar, and now you can actually change to mimic certain devices, right? So here's an iPhone 14 Pro Max. I can scroll down and actually use this as I would on a phone. This is pretty good, but what I would strongly encourage you is to pick up your phone and go look at your website with your own phone, right? Because if you're seeing weird stuff on it, your user is too, and they're going to probably leave, right? So you can actually even click through this, right? You can see all of this, how a user sees this, how a user sees your website. So strongly encourage you to do this, okay? So like this right here, maybe those columns need a little work here because that's not displaying the best here, but you can see that the widget for scheduling is, so this looks good at the moment. Okay, cool. So let's go back to the desktop view. Sweet. Okay, so compressed images, we already talked about that, right? Like using WebP. If you get that advanced, right, delivering your images as WebP format, if your builder offers that, I would always recommend it. That is something that Google invented, not a joke, for real. So I would recommend delivering your images as WebPs first because Google puts a little extra weight on that, right? And it's essentially just a compressed small image size, or optimize your JPEG files or PNG files, whatever you have, to just be smaller. Always aim for like 100 kilobytes or lower without sacrificing major quality. This, once again, not going too advanced here, but minify your JavaScript and your CSS and enable gzip compression. These are typically settings, like base core settings in optimization plugins. So just do that if you are trying to take this more seriously. Once again, lazy loading below the fold images. What do I mean by that? When you're on a website here, okay, this loads first, right? So when we load the header here, this is all going to load. But then as we scroll down, there's like these different images down here, right? You call that lazy load. Essentially, you're telling your browser to load these after because it's not that important. So when this top header is loading here, we're not wasting resources by loading these first down here because nobody can scroll down that fast. So what we're doing is we're saying load this first, and then once you get around to it, load these images as you go. It happens all so fast, right, that we don't even notice it happening because we're not scrolling that fast. But the computers and the SEO gods, they do notice these things. Cool. And then finally, optimize core web vitals. You guys have all seen core web vitals, or it's done with page speed insights right here. That's where you run your website through here and you get scores on it, right? Don't take this as the biggest thing ever. A lot of people overemphasize this, right? But you do need to have decent scores and make sure your web page is loading correctly, but you don't need to always be up in the 90s and in the green for everything. Just, you're not going to get a ton of return on it. It's like the tiny little things. If you're two conglomerate brands going up against each other, it may matter which one is served up first, but for these small things like content and these table stakes that we're talking about are going to be so much more important. Okay, so now when we talk about content and keywords, right, we're going to naturally weave in target phrases like personal trainer, Portland, highly rated Oakland, personal training, etc., right? So yeah, you can go like use an SEO tool and figure out what all these people are searching for, but like you are a person and you know how people search, right? So if you are looking for if you're looking for a personal trainer in Portland, right, there's lots of different ways that you can phrase this. So you can do like a highly rated Oakland or Portland personal trainer in Portland. Try to just sprinkle these terms throughout your website naturally without keyword stuffing and change them around a little bit, right? So change the order you say things. Like you could put Portland personal trainer in the next paragraph, or strength training programs in San Francisco, or, you know, something along those lines, right? Naturally weave these in and change them up on how they work, but build them around your core services and what you think people are actually looking for when they're trying to find you. So maybe it's like nutrition, right? Nutrition-based training in Austin. I don't know. So yeah, personal keyword or primary keywords. Here's just an example of what to do. And then we have these suggested sections that you should put on your website, right? So about your Denver studio, put description of all your programs, put your coach bios, put your client success stories. All these are sections that are actually valuable to readers, but they're also just naturally going to be filled with keywords about your business, right? So I'm not saying you need to even stuff anything in here, but if you are writing a program description about, let's go over here. If you're writing a program description about nutrition analysis or metabolic testing, those are naturally keyword stuffed because you're just talking about the business, right? Or you're talking about the service you provide. So that is going to help Google understand what your website is about and the services that you offer. Okay, so now moving on to local schema and NAP consistency. So this stuff is gold, I think, for local businesses, and not a lot of people are doing it, or not a lot of people will be doing it in your location. So this is kind of those level up things, right? So this isn't going to save you or make your website automatically go to number one, but it is something that is becoming pretty necessary, especially when we talk about AI searching, right? The AI searching, like these LLM models, use local schema a lot. When they're indexing and serving up people. So if somebody was asking like ChatGPT, what are the best personal trainers in my area, it's more likely that somebody who has good solid schema on their website is going to be served up as a result. Something to think about. So NAP consistency too. So we'll get to schema in a second. That's what this code is here. But NAP consistency. So when we say NAP, we say name, address, and phone number. So let's make sure that's always visible in the footer or the header. So let's go to this website here. Not in the not in the header there, but down in the footer, right? Like we have the actual address right there, right? We don't publish the phone number so much on this because you don't want people calling. We want them to actually be filling out a form on this website here. But it's got the address right there. And look at this. What does this link to? This clicks and links directly to your Google map listing. That's another signal that tells Google this is the same business. These things are linked together. These things are all about the exact same thing. And consistency is what is most important here when we talk about schema and name, address, and phone number, right? So you need to match the stuff exactly to your Google Maps listing, right? So let's check out this address, 2400 Central Park Boulevard. And let's go to the website down here. That is the exact same, right? So see how BLVD is abbreviated? Even little stuff like that, right? If you spelled out Boulevard here on your website, you should be, or I'm sorry, on your Google My Business profile, you should be spelling out Boulevard here on your website as well. And that's the same when it goes to all your socials. Like, so if you have Facebook or Instagram and you're publishing your phone number or your address or your business name, make sure everything, no matter where you put it, always matches and says the exact same thing. So everybody always knows this is the same business. We're talking about the same business, right? A lot of your businesses, especially in personal training, are probably going to sound the same. So make sure they're always consistent and say the exact same thing. Next, pay for a data aggregator, especially if you're new, right? So a cheap option to this is BrightLocal. And what do I mean by a data aggregator? So these are essentially these services that push out listings all across the web. You may have heard of a term like citation building, things like that. I don't find that to be super necessary anymore, especially in 2025. Maybe in 2012, that would have been awesome. But you do need to get something to spread the word about your business out there. And I recommend Data Axle and Newstar on BrightLocal because it's a cheap way to go about it. So let's go see if we can see BrightLocal pricing. Okay, so here's an example of BrightLocal. You got to go log in to do all this stuff, right? But I didn't have like any sort of monthly subscription. This is just for a home health business here, right? And we needed to build some citations and get these out here. So we did Data Axle and Newstar. Those are the two that you really only need. You don't need YP Network. You don't need Foursquare. If you want to be more robust, you can. Feel free to go purchase that. Like this client here, they wanted to also submit these manually, right? To these top players in the game here and down here. So they spent probably about $100 on this, I think. But if you look here, it's $30, I believe, for each individual one. You get like a small discount if you do more than one. So I think it's like $55 on BrightLocal as a one-time fee to do Data Axle and Newstar and publish this out to your just publish this out to the internet, right? To publish it out to all data aggregators, and that's going to like spread it out to Apple Maps. That's going to spread it out everywhere. So I strongly recommend doing that if you're serious about this stuff because that'll save you hours and hours and hours of actually going and manually doing this yourself for a one-time cost of, like I said, probably about $55 on BrightLocal to do. Okay, and finally, this is getting a little more advanced here, but we're going to use JSON-LD schema on your website. So this is going to look really intimidating, right? But it's not going to be that hard, especially with AI. Okay, so this is just a template here, right? And so this needs to go on your website, and it's schema code. And I know this website that we have isn't actually set up with it. So I'm just going to first show you how I'm going to do this, right? So let's go to the website here, and I'm going to go to my code snippets plugin. This is just specific to WordPress, so always have a code snippet plugin if you're working on WordPress. And I already prepared this over here. Where is it? Right here. So I'm just going to copy and paste this here. And I'm going to put this on my homepage alone. This is my schema for just my homepage. I got lost here. Here we go. Perfect. Save changes and activate. Sweet. Purge all cache. Go back to the website here. Go to the home page. I'm going to see if this actually registers. Okay, so now we're seeing it's here. This is on the website, right? Oh, look, I didn't update my logo here. So I'm going to go get my logo for my site here. I'm going to go see if this is actually updated on the site, and it is right there. Perfect. So now I have perfect schema set up for this website. Cool. So going back to you, what you're going to do, right, this is just a template. And so this is set up for WordPress. Okay, so this is going to work in WordPress only, injecting this code. But if you have other website builders, right, they're all going to allow you to add custom code. So just look at the documentation for your builder, and you can definitely put this in here. So how are you going to do this for your business, though, right? So first, let's make sure we have set up our Google My Business profile before we attempt to do this. Next, let's just go copy this right here. Put it into ChatGPT like that. I'm going to add it right there. And all I'm going to do at the beginning here is say, I need to update this schema to my business. Here are the details. And so I for you would put in like, ABC training, business name, phone number, right? Website. Link to your Google My Business profile, right? So you can just get that here by copying that paste if you're on Google Maps. Put that there. Put in your business hours. Are this. Services provided. Blah, blah, blah. Put all that stuff in there as much as you can about your business, and it will reproduce something back for you. Another hack you can do, right, to make this a little quicker is just go to your homepage, which probably has most of the information about your business. Just copy all this stuff here. I'm just going to copy the whole website and be like, in ChatGPT, here is all the content from my home page. Paste that. All right, so now this is long and obnoxious, right? But it should return something pretty good. Let's see what happens. Cool. So now looking at here, all right, it's type health and beauty business, ABC training. I didn't actually give an image URL, right? So you need to put your image URL to your website. The phone number's here. I didn't give the website. Oh, yes, I did. That's the one I put in there. But look, now it took all this information from copying and pasting from my website, right? So, or no, and also, yeah, from the Google My Business profile, right? But look, it took the hours too. It's got all these different catalogs here, the services, small group classes, personal training, nutrition analysis, metabolic testing. It did all that because I copied and pasted the website, right? And look, there you go, perfect. You have perfect schema for your website. So I'm gonna just go copy this and put it onto my website, onto my homepage. Once again, this is for each individual page, so don't put this in your header for all pages. This should be only for your homepage here. If you need to make something for a services page, you do something like this, right? Like now make me a services page schema. Here are all of my services, and then put in something blah, 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 and boom, press enter, and you have a new schema for your services page. Cool. All right. So I would strongly recommend doing that. That is going to help you out a lot. And so now finally, what is next, right? So now that you've done all this, right, you have elevated a ton, but there's a future ahead. SEO is not a one-time thing. This will get you probably decent results, but if you really want to take this seriously, keep writing regular blogs, right? Write blogs on the things that you offer and the things that you know about, whether it's nutrition, whether it's proper lifting techniques, whether it's science-based training, I'm not sure, right? Whatever you think that you are a subject matter expert on, I would go write blogs on those. Keyword focused content expansion, right? So if you're focused on a specific niche, right, like strength training for women over 40 in Denver, if that's your niche, right, go write a whole article on strength training for women over 40 in your city and what you know about it. Update your content often, right? Like just go find little places you can add it, right? If you show in Google that you're always active because it scans your site all the time, it crawls your site, right? If this site is always updated and getting active and getting constant updates, it's going to look a lot better in Google's eyes. That strategic internal linking, right? We went through that earlier, but this is a strong SEO move, right? If you have good, solid internal linking, it usually shows pretty good, solid results. Building local backlinks, right? So if you like do a partnership with a bar or something where you have a booth at the bar, right? Maybe you can find a way to get a link on their website. Linking back saying that you were a sponsor, or offer to do the same vice versa, right? Do link trades, right? If you're working with a local nutrition business, maybe you could both put your own links on each other's websites. Building local backlinks in your community is really going to help you out. And finally, continuous review management, right? Like always just try to get reviews for your business. You don't need to be out there begging and pleading for them, but make it easy. Create a QR code for people to scan to leave a review, ask for reviews, do all these different type of things that just keep them coming in so people see that you're an active business that is continuing to get results for your clients. Cool. That is all I got for today. So that is a ton. I'm sure you have a lot to digest there, but if you really do go through and do all this stuff, like you are going to see results. It's never instant with SEO, but after a little while, you will start to see that your profiles pop up more, people find you organically, things along those lines. So good luck and have fun out there.